Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have made multiple moves here regarding their active roster and a little bit on their practice squad. They have signed linebacker Antonio Greer Jr. and wide receiver Sterling Shepard to the active roster. They have placed linebacker Servassier Dennis on the injured reserve. They have waived defensive end Ben Still, and they have signed linebacker Kalen DeLoach to the practice squad. And I imagine the other practice squad spot is going to be to Ben Still, the defensive lineman, whenever he does clear waivers. So you have a few things here. Okay, firstly, let's talk about Servassier Dennis being placed on the injured reserve. He is dealing with, I believe it's a shoulder injury right now, and that's unfortunate because Servassier Dennis was actually off to a pretty good start here in the early portions of his second season in the NFL. He was rotating with KJ Britt at that linebacker position. Overall, I thought that he was doing a pretty good job, to even the point where it's like you could have made an argument that he should have been starting over KJ Britt. Right? He played in 13 games last year, had a bit of some injuries. He played in 4 games this year. He had 22 tackles, a sack, a tackle for loss, and a quarterback hit throughout the first 4 games of the season this year. And again, like, he was putting in some good work. And he could have very well been a guy that would have eventually supplanted KJ Britt for those linebacker spots, but it is going to be a little bit slowed down, obviously, as he is recovering from this injury. So wish nothing but the best for Servassier Dennis in his effort to recover from this shoulder injury that he was dealt in the Week 4 win over the Philadelphia Eagles. This does mean he is going to miss at least the next 4 weeks of the regular season. Now, Antonio Greer Jr. is being brought in. He is a guy who was with the Buccaneers throughout the preseason and offseason of this most recent year. He signed with the practice squad after the final rounds of cuts that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers made. He actually had some good work throughout the course of the preseason and whatnot. A lot of people were a big fan of his, thought he honestly may have had a chance to make that final 53-man roster. The Bucs did go with a couple of other guys in that final scenario. V. Jones is still on the practice squad as well, by the way, so they still have some more depth at linebacker. And we'll see what the Bucs do to replace Servassier Dennis's snaps. It may be J.J. Russell gets more of some opportunities here. Maybe Antonio Greer gets some more opportunities here. But we'll see. But welcome Antonio Greer to the active roster. We'll see if he is active going forward on game day. Sterling Shepard has been brought in, and this is likely because of all the injuries the Bucs have been dealing with at their backup wide receiver room. It seems like Jalen McMillan is going to miss another week. It seems like Trey Palmer is going to miss this upcoming week. Mike Evans is on the injury report. Cameron Johnson's on the injury report. The only healthy wide receiver that isn't on the injury report is Chris Godwin. So you needed some more depth there. Sterling Shepard last week actually had a 30-yard catch and stepped up in a big way. He has a history with Baker Mayfield going back to their time together playing at Oklahoma. So it makes sense. Right? It makes sense. And the Bucs still have a couple of wide receivers on that practice squad. They've got Ryan Miller. They've got Cody Thompson. But Shepard adds a veteran presence. He's got a rapport with Baker Mayfield, and he did a good job in this last week. I imagine he will get used in some way, shape, or form in this upcoming game against the Falcons on Thursday. So good moves there. Finally, Kalen DeLoach is back. Now, Kalen DeLoach actually, as far as I can know, I'm going to Google this while we're talking about it, but he, of course, was with the Bucs in the preseason and offseason and whatnot. Former FSU linebacker, was part of that great Florida State defense last year in 2023. He was a first-team All-ACC player. He ran a 4.47 40-yard dash. A lot of people liked him in the preseason and in the offseason and whatnot. He was waived on August 27th, and he was actually drafted in the 3rd round of the UFL draft on July 17th. He never played in the UFL, or he has yet to play in the UFL, and now he's back on the Buccaneers practice squad. So he had a couple of options, being it in the UFL or with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He finds himself back in Tampa Bay. Now, I know people are going to be very, very excited about DeLoach making his return to the practice squad. I think that is also an indication that, like, Greer's going to be around for the next month or so on this Bucs practice squad, or on the Bucs active roster. I think you will see a similar thing with Sterling Shepard as well, just in terms of being a part of the active roster here going forward. It does seem like McMillan and Trey Palmer are dealing with some nagging injuries. So I think Shepard and Greer are going to be around for at least the next month as the Bucs just kind of recuperate and recover. Also, Ben still being released. Does that mean that Kalijah Cansey is going to be healthier towards playing? Does that mean Will Golston, Greg Gaines, Logan Hall are all going to be able to play in this upcoming game? It seems like that probably leans more towards yes. Also, you do have the idea of Ernest Brown IV coming back from the injured reserve as well at some point as another backup defensive lineman. Of course, the Buccaneers would have to free up a roster spot for that case, but we'll see. I believe the Bucs, in fact, I'm just going to assume in this video that Ben Still will be back on the Bucs practice squad. So we will have to wait and see how that goes in terms of him getting back, getting acclimated into the Bucs practice squad, and just getting integrated back into that with the Bucs defensive line depth. So guys, that's all the moves, man. That's all the moves. Again, the Buccaneers have placed SirVocea Dennis on the injured reserve. They'd waived defensive lineman Ben Still. Antonio Greer Jr. and Sterling Shepard are both on the active roster now. And you also have Kalen DeLoach coming back to the practice squad. So welcome in all these guys. Wish nothing but the best for the other folks in terms of Ben Still, SirVocea Dennis, in terms of other opportunities, be it in the case of work with Ben Still and recovering from injury in the case of SirVocea. Wish nothing but the best for those guys, and we'll see what these new guys can do, as Sterling Shepard had a good week last week, and maybe Antonio Greer will get an opportunity as that third linebacker. Who knows? But guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions about this down in the comments section below. I would love to hear it. Guys, subscribe if you're new, by the way. It'd be greatly appreciated as well. And folks, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed. And as always, folks, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.